Hi, this is Dr. Ben with the Pre-Chiro podcast. And for anyone out there that's considering becoming a sports chiropractor today, we have Dr. Raphael coming in from upstate New York. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to share with any prospective students considering this career path. Can we just get started by you just sharing a little bit about what your background was before you decided to become a chiropractor and what attracted you to this profession?
Sure. The only thing is I don't have much of a background before Cairo because I became a chiropractor when I was 24. So I'm one of the few guys that was straight out of high school. I knew what I wanted to do, and there's a story behind that. But I was always into fitness. I was a personal trainer. That's definitely things I liked, and I knew when I went through the program that I definitely wanted to marry the two together, the chiropractic and the fitness industry. So, oh, there we go. We'll give you a little more background.
Yeah.
And but like I said, it was straight from pretty much almost high school that I knew I wanted to pursue a career. So there isn't too much before chiropractic college.
Sure, but I mean, you had to go to college before that. What was going through your head? Were you considering physical therapy? Did you want to become a chiropractor, and that was like your primary choice, or was this something that you stumbled on after more research? How did you arrive at chiropractic?
I'll tell the whole story, but my father was owned a metal shops. He did a lot of manual work, and I was blessed. My father was retired most of my life, so I went everywhere with him. But he was still recovering from just years of manual labor, so he always went to his chiropractor. And somewhere's in my house, I have like a fifth grade graduation book, one of those things that they make for all the kids, and they have me down as having future chiropractor. So I must have said that at some point. But when I was in high school, I was definitely probably heading medical of some sort, I'm sure, probably physical therapy and things like that. But when I was a sophomore, junior, I can't even remember what year it was now. I was actually wrestling one of my best friends for a varsity spot, and I got really hurt. I rotated my actual sacrum upon the pelvis, and I couldn't stand up. I had electric shocks. It was terrible pain, and my father had to take me to the regular doctor and then the orthopedist. And the orthopedist was just like, we got to put a titanium rod through your hip to stabilize this joint, the whole 9 yards to scare the shit out of you. And
Hmm.
my brother at the time had said to my father, he goes, Dad, that chiropractor that you see on his door, he has that he's a sports chiropractor and he takes care of sports injuries. So my father was like, well, let's go see what he has to say. And we went down there and he reviewed the x-rays and everything. And I just remember him saying, I'm pretty sure I can help you. Give me 3 weeks. If you're not better in 3 weeks, we can always go down that surgery route. But we can't do that first and then look for alternatives. And my father, said to me as a 16-year-old, he goes, what do you want to do? And I was like, yeah, I'll definitely try this chiropractic thing and see what happens. And the long story short was, I think it was maybe a month, 5 weeks later, I was back to practicing. The chiropractor sent me at that point, maybe for like 2 weeks of physical therapy. I had some lingering muscle issues, but I was back. Like there was no issues. I felt great, and ever since that point, it was like, holy crap, this is amazing, and it really got my mind thinking about maybe this is something I want to do. And from that point, I went to, I think, as I got in my senior year, I just called up chiropractors and physical therapists and anybody that was in relatable fields, and I went and shadowed their offices. Just spent like a half a day, and at least by me, there was a considerable difference on, like, every time I went to a chiropractor's office, people are hugging the chiropractor. They're making him cookies, which, for me, I'm a large guy. I was sold,
Hmm.
cookies for life.
Hmm.
But even the physical therapist and like some of the orthopedic offices, they were so stark white and sterile and no one wanted to be there, and the women working the front desk were bitchy, and from the whole setup, I was like, wow, this, the chiropractors really seem to have this like intimate relationship and are friendly, and people want to see them and they feel good. And it was just a complete 180 from all these other offices. So that really made up my mind. And pretty much right from graduating, I went down to Life University in Atlanta, and I did their concurrent program. So I went to Life even for my undergrad, and I ended up getting my undergrad and immediately starting my sports chiropractic masters while in the DC program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Life University has some of the most wide diversity of opportunities for students to study. Can you talk about some of the resources you took advantage of as a chiropractic student and the directions that you chose to go in?
Sure. I mean, I think one of the best things that Life has to offer, and people aren't aware of it, is definitely the concurrent programs. Um, I finished 3/4 of my undergrad, and then I was allowed to enter the DC program. And within the first year of my DC program, uh, credits counted twice to finish off my undergrad, and a lot of credits for my master's degree did the exact same thing. So um, I did 3 degrees in I think 6.5 years, somewhere along that timeline. And I mean, that's fantastic. Like I said, I was practicing in New York at like 24, which is very young, but it was a very fast pace, and it saved a lot of money on living expenses and things like that. So I thought that was a fantastic aspect of Life. The other thing that really stuck out with me with Life, not only do they have so many clubs and techniques, and it's very hard to tell somebody, hey, go look into Gonstead and Thompson. You don't know what your practice is like, so you try to hit a little bit of everything in at Life. You can do that, but I had a unique intern experience, or I should say externship. Um, Now with programs, you can practice in different parts of the country or practice underneath doctors, except for New York for some reason, which is very strange.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually went to Ghana, West Africa for 4 months, and I practiced out there. And even though it's not how I practice here, and I don't prefer the high volume practice, in Ghana, I was, they would see something like a 1,000 patients a week. Um, it was a very high volume, but it gave me a very unique opportunity to see a lot of people of a lot of different ages, of a lot of different injuries, and definitely not being here in the States. It wasn't, people weren't just coming in for back pain and neck pain.
Mm-hmm.
People had all types of injuries, extremity injuries, other things going on that they were trying to get treated for. So it was quite a different experience than from what a lot of my friends had experienced, just staying more local.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that that was one of the most transformational experiences I had as well as a student, was getting out of the country and going in and taking care of people that I might not speak the same language of, for reasons that I didn't initially go to chiropractic school thinking chiropractic could take care of or help out with. But I gained this perspective that, wow, you don't really need much else except the tools that you have to take care of people and make a big difference in their lives. But can you talk a little bit? You said you got out of school at 24. I'm sure that you learned a lot of different lessons getting right out as a young person and trying to navigate the real world. I'm sure that you've been in practice for quite a while now. Can you give some perspective to what you learned getting out back then, and what kinds of um, recommendations you might be able to make to somebody to maybe try out now before they even go to chiropractic school, so that they can gain real world experience and really take that experience with them into a profession that requires so much from you?
Uh, I guess my advice would just be to follow your passion, and depending on what you want to do or who you're around, you can always marry two things together. You don't have to be um, a chiropractor who just sees everybody and does Medicare and whatnot. when I came out of school, I had a little different mentality. I was renting from an older guy, and which was fine, but I was definitely trying to be. Uh, I would probably say Jake from State Farm. I had the polo and the khakis on, and anybody who wanted to come through the door, I was like, "Great, I'll take care of you." Your grandma, 90 years old, can't even bend her knees, and I'm taking care of her. Which I only say that because I have no interest in geriatrics um, now. And as I slowly progressed over, it's been like 11 years of practice, the more I just became myself. And now I practice in a small, like gym like atmosphere in my office that has gym flooring, there's the squat rack, all that fun stuff. I wear basically gym clothing. I have my lifting doc logos on, gym shorts, and I can do a basic sports kind of treatment, which is we go through the spine, we adjust everybody, maybe some soft tissue work, or we can get on the floor, we can roll people, we can do squat analysis. The music is matching to me. It's always some type of rock, or right now there's Christmas music blasting 24/7. But you definitely bring in people who vibrate and resonate with you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if you're trying to portray something else, it becomes very hard because um, you're kind of pushing people away because you have this fakeness to you. That's a horrible thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now I feel like my practice is almost exploding because I'm at such a point where I can't deal with the BS. If there's someone that I'm not good with, I'm just like, you know what? There's a wonderful, pediatric chiropractor down the street. I don't want to deal with that many anything that's a high risk pregnancy or kids and things like that. I'm very, very good in my niche field.
Mm-hmm.
Athletics, of almost any age, but that like 20 to like 55-year old, is a awesome field for me. I can do a lot of things with that.
Mm-hmm.
But all the time people were like, "Oh, can you take care of my grandma?" I'm like, "I can, but I'm not going to give you the best care because that's not what I'm passionate about. That's not what I'm training for." So I always just kind of refer them out. I'm like, this guy is going to do so much better because that's all they see and that's what they care about.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I'm all about the soft tissue work, all this fun stuff to get athletes performing better and the regular person just feeling better all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, my goal is for anyone that's watching this channel that reaches chiropractic on purpose and sees interviews like this, that they can hear the message that you can make it what you want to make it, that you should follow your passion, that there are many options available to you, and that you just need to do the research to explore what's available. So, can we go deeper into what you are passionate about so we can provide some depth and insight into sort of how you work with people? Obviously, it depends on the type of person that's coming in. It depends on the type of situation. But can you provide some examples of the types of things that you might be doing on a day, and how you kind of trained yourself to be ready to handle these different scenarios?
Sure. So in my office, the vast majority of people are athletic of some varying degree. So we can be talking about a peewee football player who's just in their first year or two of playing a sport, or we can go all the way up to professional Olympic level athletes who are competing at the highest, most elite levels, and that includes people from just recreational, trying to keep themselves in good shape, to the CrossFit elite athletes of all different levels. But my real niche has been even though I myself am trained as a powerlifter, and that's where my most passion comes from. My biggest niche is really CrossFit. I take care of a considerable amount of CrossFit boxes around me. It's probably a good 60%. That's just volume of who's around here, and I like it. Anything weightlifting is basically where I really enjoy it. So I made my office reflect that so that we can assess and correct all those common issues. And I don't know. I just really like to see people progress and better themselves. So when someone comes in and they have a nagging issue, and then we treat that, we correct it, and then they hit their PRs and they're doing better than they've ever done before. That just hits home for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, that sounds great. And so you said that you might take care of the spine and adjust them first and then move into some soft tissue work, or some other corrective movement types
Mhm.
of recommendations. Can you describe some of the training that you went through to become proficient in that at a professional level? Because obviously, when you become a doctor of chiropractic, like, a lot of the training is in how to provide adjustments, but it seems like you've gone in the direction of being a sports chiropractor. So you've learned taping, you've learned corrective movement. Can you explore some of that with prospective students, please?
Sure. I mean, I do quite a bit of continuing ed credits each year, and some of it can be from normal names that in the Cairo land you'll know, Graston and all types of instrument assisted work. I am an instructor for rock tape as well, so any of those courses that they offer, I've taken a whole bunch of different courses, not just chiropractic, but like physical therapy based corrective exercises, the USA Olympic weightlifting certifications, all these different things over time. You know, there's definitely some certifications that stick out to me. I really, if there's students listening now, I think that the best bang for the buck is definitely like a lot of rock tape programs. And I'm not saying that because I am biased. I work for them, but I think there's some great programs out there, but some of these things, I like ART. It's great stuff. Um, they are just going after money, and I don't know what person, and definitely students, are paying $1,200 to learn the same thing on different body parts. Once again, I like the technique. The applications are great, but if you take ART upper body for $1,200, $1,300, you can basically apply the same principles to the lower body and move on. Um, but if you want to get all their certifications, it's a very expensive thing. Um, and I feel like other programs, kind of like definitely like a rock tape, smart tools, those are more like, hey, I took a weekend class and Monday morning I'm going to go in and I know I learned some stuff that I can immediately use on people. Taping, some tool work, some cupping, and you know those clinical pearls are worth everything, and it's not breaking the bank. I particularly like anybody who does a lot of, if you're trying to work with like the CrossFit community. It's funny because I don't have my CrossFit level one. I don't think I'll ever pursue it, but most people come out and they go, I want to work with these guys. Well, what's big in their field? And I've looked at the programming. I've done CSCS and Olympic weightlifting stuff before, so I didn't feel it was necessary for me to go through CrossFit stuff. But that would be where I would lead people to go down and to really get deep into whatever those aspects of the sports are. Early in my career, I thought I was going to take care of more golfers, so I did the whole Titleist Performance Center certifications, and it was very good. I just don't really see golfers anymore. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
but every year I do try to push and go to different things. And now, um, a little later in my career, I'm starting to want to do less chiropractic things and hit osteopathic and physical therapy things, just because I want to see different perspectives.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No doubt. Yeah, you said 11 years in. It's interesting. What are some of the highlights within the chiropractic profession? What are some of the things you look back on that were really valuable for you in shaping you and your chiropractic skills? Specific seminars you took, or different certifications you got?
Um, I still, to this day, even though it's been probably 10 years since I've done a volunteer mission trip, I still think that leaving the country and doing those volunteer trips greatly reinforced things I learned in school. I did a trip to El Salvador, which was fantastic. And we saw a lot of people and a lot of varying issues. Um, and it was chaotic at times, but you got to really see hands on what happened. And we did another trip later that same year in 2009. I went to India for 4 weeks, and we just saw people for 3 weeks, which actually gave us enough time that people would stay and come back 3, 4 times, and you would see people progress. And what an amazing like thing to see, that like the people would bring us children who had accidents and falls that they couldn't afford. Over in India, you pay for hospital care right there. If you don't have money, they say get out. And we would take care of kids that had fallen, have all these issues, and they're failing to thrive now, and you would adjust them, and these kids would just, you'd see them turn back into kids and be playing. And it was really something I hold dear to my heart, that as I get older and I hopefully will have more time, I want to get back into. But it is very exhausting, and those mission trips have always just held that place in my heart. If I was to really think about certifications, I enjoy quite a bit of certification classes. Everything's a little different. Like I said, now I really look forward to things that are just out there a little bit more. Anything that's not just going to be me sitting in the classroom, the more I'm in a cert that has you up and learning and treating, that's really cool to me. So I know this year I have a buddy out on the West Coast. He has his whole prehab courses on treating the weightlifting sorry, the weightlifting clientele. And I think you're only sitting for like 6 out of like the 18 hours. So I like to be getting up and seeing how people come at these injuries or corrective stuff from different angles, because there is no one correct path for everybody.
No doubt, no doubt. What are some goals that you have for the future if you were to project out, even if it's in the next 6 months to a year or even 5 to 10 years? Do you have any aspirations that you're moving in the direction of right now?
Yeah, especially with coronavirus, it's been a fun thing to try to see. I was hired by Rock Tape just about 2 years ago, and I went through all the training, and I got to teach like 3 courses, and then Corona hit, and then I'm one of the newest hires, so I don't get the as much stuff as virtual classes, but I do really enjoy teaching, and I it's on the aspect of when you've been in solo practice for 10 years, it gets a little boring. You don't get to interact as much. Um, Teaching, you get to hear so many different aspects of it. And, with Rock Day, we're teaching to massage therapists, personal trainers, PTs, chiros. So getting that interprofessional relationship, having people actually send you research papers and asking your opinions on things, it has really piqued my interest. But I would like to teach more in the aspect of those weekend module classes. I don't see myself ever at like a chiro school. And then on the personal private side, I would really like to get into, as I just rebuilt my first office, and that's been going very well. I'm very happy with it. At some point in the next 5 years, I really would like to do a second office in Northern Jersey. And it would be a bigger, better version of what I've done at my current office.
Cool.
So more
Yes,
sports
expanding.
treatments, better treatments, all that stuff.
And can you walk us through what your schedule is like on a typical week? How many hours are you in the office? How often are you seeing people? What's your week looking like when you're in practice?
So typically I don't I see patients for about like 30 hours a week. So I work more afternoons. I don't really like mornings. So I think the earliest I start now is like 10 a.m. But I'll go up until 8, 8:30 at night. My patient visits are usually about 20 minutes a piece. New patients are usually about 40 to 60 minutes. Once again, really take the time to assess and see what's going on with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the office 5 days a week, and then one day a week. Usually, it was more routine. I would go up to different CrossFits through North Jersey and Orange County, which are everything's about an hour, 45 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
And I would treat right at those CrossFit boxes,
Mm-hmm.
once a week. And now that's down to about once every 2 weeks or so, maybe three. Corona hasn't really made that very popular with my clients, because some of the CrossFits I was going in, I was in a smaller space. So
Mm-hmm.
people were staying away from that, and it's harder to, control that.
Mm-hmm.
I still have some CrossFits that have big open areas that I can work in,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just not as popular as what it was. So I'm hoping with the vaccinations and everything coming out that maybe in the next 3-4 months we get back into a more normal routine of doing that, because I really like being in the gym and seeing people what their issues are, because there's nothing like being able to treat somebody and saying, go to the squat rack, let's see how that feels, is that helping you? So I
Mm-hmm.
enjoy that, but that's a normal routine for me, about 30 hours and visiting like private gyms once a week or so.
Right on. And then just kind of like wrapping up, uh, would you say that you made the right choice, the path you've taken? It sounds like you're really making the most of it. You're enjoying what you're doing. Can you just kind of share to that younger version of yourself in middle school or high school, just in regards to this chiropractic path? Probably they never heard about it, or maybe they're just exploring it for the first time. Can you just kind of give a final message as to, like, if you're really thinking about going into healthcare, or if you're thinking about going in the direction of helping people, why chiropractic might be a unique opportunity?
Oh yeah, of course. So the thing I would say to my younger youths and anybody who's thinking about this is really same kind of road I took. If you have any passion, if you think that this is for you, um, and you do have to be passionate about helping and serving people, just go visit offices, go shadow other offices and see what people are doing. I speak to so many people who want to become physical therapists, and I'm like, great, go shadow. I'll give you names and things. And it's actually surprising, because I have a few friends that are physical therapists, and a lot of them don't like it. And I'm not trying to speak poorly about them, but they realize that 60% of physical therapists are working in a hospital atmosphere, not really with the clientele that you want. And you might find that out with chiropractic too. A lot of the field deals with geriatrics and Medicare, and maybe that's not what you're looking to do. But you can also go to offices that are awesome, that deal with sports or nutrition and things that you're really interested in. And you want to experience that before you go to school, so you have a better understanding of where you want to go for your classes, your weekend seminars, and
Mhm.
everything. Because I'm sure you experienced this as well. But I had friends that just took the classes that the school gave you. They never did weekend seminars, and then when
Mhm.
they came out in the practice, they're unhappy because they're just doing a generic thing that isn't really fulfilling them. Um,
Mhm. Most
from almost
definitely.
from almost day one, I knew I was heading in a certain direction. It wasn't super clear
Mhm.
at that point, but I knew I wanted to go down a path of some type of sports and things like that. And it definitely made the big difference. And after, a little while, you start getting that clearer picture and you can build towards that.
Mhm.
So, you don't need to know everything. I remember distinctively sitting in class like a year into the chiropractic program and looking at some people going, did I make the right decision? Because some of the people around me were nut jobs.
Mhm.
And then some other people were third generation chiros that you're like, man, you really love this shit. I'm maybe,
Mhm.
you're not, I'm not as passionate as you, but that's just because they were more solidified in certain things and they saw it more. The
Mhm.
more I got around offices and I did more volunteer trips and the mission trip, that's when I was like, this is the career for me. I went in, I always tell people if I won the lottery today, I'd be in the office tomorrow. I still like this. I mean, the car outside would be a lot nicer, but the
Mhm.
I I would be in the office. I love what I do. I
Mhm.
can't see not doing it. And the last little tidbit to solidify that is I always told my wife, if I drop dead, the only thing that I care about is on the gravestone that there's a DC after my name, because
Mhm.
that's how much being a chiropractor means to me. It is my life.
Mhm. No doubt. Yeah, for me as well. And that's really, I didn't know chiropractic was an option. I was a personal trainer, kinesiology, exercise science major, and college athlete. And I was thinking only physical therapy or maybe massage, or I didn't really know where the next path or the next step was going to be, maybe gym teacher, maybe work in an exercise lab. But when I discovered chiropractic, I was like, why is this not more present, more established, and right in front of people that are going down this path? So that's all I'm hoping to do with this podcast, is just get it in front of the people that I think it could help the most. And I thank you for providing just some unfiltered, unbiased perspective. It's helpful. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people are going to keep it real. And just imagine you were just someone's guidance counselor. You know what I mean? That we would love to have had that experience. I know I didn't really have that experience as like somebody who was just like, what's the best path for me, guidance counselor? And they're like, well, these are the classes you could take. Well, yeah, classes are important, but you're talking about some real world, so
Yeah, and I mean, your podcast is definitely needed, and I hope that if anyone has further questions or just wants to go down that that road with me, find out a little bit more, please contact me on Instagram. I'm very easy to get a hold of.
no doubt. Yeah, at the lifting doc, right? Or the lifting doc?
The Lifting Doc.
Cool. Right on. All right, have a great day, brother. Happy birthday. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much, man.
I'll talk to you later. Take care of yourself.